going to start off with what your opinion on the book is. So, what do you think of To Kill a Mockingbird in general as a book?
Like as a work of fiction or as a, part of a movement? Just anything at all?
Just a book.
Purely on a literary basis, I truly believe it's one of the most well-written books I've ever read. The way the author sort of intertwines all of the plot, narrative, background on characters to shape the way you view events is pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Awesome. So my second question is, I was wondering what you thought that the message behind the book was that the author is trying to get to the audience.
I think there's a couple messages, and I think every year that I teach it, I kind of go back and forth. I think one message is certainly a message of equality between races. Atticus's closing statement during the trial certainly speaks to that. What happens to Tom Robinson, speaks to the unfairness of, racism in America and the South during that time period, the 30s. I think the message is one of empathy, that people need to be empathetic to those they encounter during the course of their lives. I think there's also some scathing reviews of education in there. I think there are messages about the role of society in, shaping how events unfold, shaping how people develop, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm. If you were to pick, your favorite or the one you think is the most important?
I would say, I think ultimately a message of empathy is probably the most important. Because I think the message of empathy is probably, if you take just that message alone, it would lead you to understand lots of other messages in the book.
Yeah, cool. So, what is your opinion on why so many English teachers pick this book to teach in class?
The sort of main characters are kids, so I think teachers hope that students in middle school will relate to them because, they're sort of similar age or coming to a similar age than the children in the book. I think teachers like to teach it because it does have a message of tolerance, so you get to, kind of help shape people's perceptions of societal expectations. I think teachers like to teach it because there's a lot of obvious to adults, a lot of obvious messages to adults that are still subtle enough for middle schoolers that they don't pick up on them right away and have to think things through.
Mm-hmm. How important do you think that this book is in American history?
I mean, it's obviously a big deal. I'm sure almost every American who has gone through, junior high and high school, or the majority of Americans who've gone through junior and high school have read To Kill a Mockingbird. So in that sense, it's very prolific. It puts it up there with The Great Gatsby and, Romeo and Juliet as, sort of a work that reaches so many people. Can you just rephrase the question for me, please?
How important would you say that this book is in American history?
I mean, it's absolutely significant. Yeah, I think I said that it's been taught to lots of Americans. I think it's helped pervade the message of tolerance and hopefully empathy, helping kids develop empathy. I think it's important because it speaks to a specific time period in some ways a very idyllic way, and in some ways a very honest and brutal way. It's a cornerstone of American literature. We have a half African American in office. I'm not going to say that it started because of To Kill a Mockingbird, but I think that having such a prolific book has helped shape society, and society's gotten to the point where something like that can totally happen. So, absolutely, I think it's very significant in American history.
And last question is, if you could say something to Harper Lee pertaining to her book or her writing skills or the effects that her book has had, what would you say to her?
Dear Harper, thank you. When I first taught your book, wait, she can hear this?
Possibly if I reach her. But
Which would be tough because she's very reclusive.
I know.
But Mr. Hoppin, while I'm thinking about it, might know somebody who, I will talk to Mr. Hoppin about whose friend, aunt, is friends with Harper Lee.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I'm going to start over.
Yeah. Dear Harper, thank you. When I first started teaching To Kill a Mockingbird, I just knew it as a great story and a very teachable one to students in 8th and 9th grade. But having taught it for 8 years now, 9 years maybe, I've come to love it more and more. I feel like every year I discover something great about it that I hadn't realized before, and you just have done a wonderful job. Thank you. It's made my teaching career better. Feel free to come talk to my class anytime. Sincerely, Rob Scotland.
Okay, thank you very much.